What's going on, everybody? How's
guys.
everyone doing today? This is a good one.
We are getting into another boring topic. Yay!
Financial statements.
We're going to make it fun for you guys, though, just like always.
You'll love it.
Another important one. You got the expert here to help you out.
We'll see about that.
Yeah.
Let's get in it.
Let's do it. The Business Project Podcast.
Business can be complicated.
We break it down so regular people like us
Can understand and find success. I'm John Crespo, accountant and consultant.
I'm Casey Bryant, marketer and event planner,
If you run a business,
or want to run a business.
welcome to the show. And we're back.
We're back.
So we're in the holiday season.
We are.
How'd you enjoy your Thanksgiving?
It was great.
Did you eat a lot?
I did. Look, I chopped off my hair.
And you look like a brand new person.
A totally different person. And we're in a new recording studio.
We are.
All brand new for you guys. Come back strong.
Hey, it's all about progress.
It is. We're
Little
so
by
excited.
little.
Yes.
You're gonna see a lot of changes as the podcast goes on. Our studio is gonna start looking different. We're gonna be trying new things. So it's an exciting time for us here at the Business Project. I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too. And we only have this one and one more left in this series.
Yeah.
And then after this, we are going to be starting a completely new series. So we have taken you guys step by step in what you need to do in order to create and launch a business. We've talked about accounting. We've talked about social media. We've talked about getting your business license.
Everything.
Just so many things.
Yeah.
Yes. And today we are going to talk about financial statements.
Yes.
And then next week we're going to talk about financing. And then we are going to get into a completely new series all about building your business credit
Yes.
and financing, which is something that I think a lot of businesses need help with.
Oh my God, it's all over YouTube now, and there's a bunch of YouTube professionals giving some information, but we're gonna give you the real deal, Holyfield, on how to make sure your business is established properly to build that credit and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm excited about the next segment of information we got coming out. So keep following along and invite your friends because it's gonna get really good.
It is. And then we have already started planning the series after that, which is going to be even better. And we're not going to
Yes.
tell you yet.
It's all about just making it so that you get what you need to just go out there and crush it. And really, it's up to us to turn this country around, right?
It
Small
is.
business is the backbone of this country.
Small businesses are much needed. We need you guys to be successful, and we need you to share this with your other business friends, because if they are not successful, if our small businesses aren't learning this stuff and doing their businesses right, then there's going to be no small businesses left. I
That's
feel like
right.
we're battling an uphill battle at this point.
Yeah, we are. So, but we have to stay the course.
Stay
Fight
the course.
the good fight.
Stick together.
I love it.
Yes. All right, so let's get into financial statements.
Financials. So by now, we've gone through the whole process of setting up our business, launching our product or service. We're generating revenue. We got the reports. We understand the importance of reports.
Yeah.
And so how do we prepare ourselves to make sure that we're understanding the financial health of our business?
This is something that we kind of went over, just the general. We went over, I think, your balance sheet, your profit and loss, and your cash flow statement. Just mentioned it.
We just mentioned
in the
it.
accounting
Yeah.
podcast. And so now we're going to go into it a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Why you need to know those. And yeah, it is so important. So many business owners that I talk to don't know the numbers. You can
Right.
ask them how much they made last year or where they are this quarter compared to last quarter, and they have no idea.
Yeah, and how do you plan properly without really knowing where you stand, right? And how do you know if you're really, you can feel, of course, that your business is doing well or not doing well, right? If you look at your bank account, which is the majority of what business owners do, is they look at their bank account. Okay, we have money this week. Now we can buy this, now we can buy that, or whatever, invest in this and this and that. But then you go into next, so you're living paycheck to paycheck as a business owner.
Yeah, which is not great, especially when you go into a recession or something like COVID hits, or
Like now.
you go through hard times.
Yeah.
Then you're like, just like with your paycheck at home, then you're wondering, how in the world am I going to get my next, except for this one's might not be a steady one like your paycheck at home. This one is like banking
That's
on
right. Yeah.
on your business doing well. So yeah, terrible way.
Yeah. Business are cyclical, right? You have your good months where you're selling like crazy, and then you have your months where like there's crickets. How do you navigate those ebbs and flows without the proper planning in place and without the proper reporting to help you do that? And that's where the financial statements come in.
They also help you cut the fat.
Exactly.
When you are an established business and you're offering several different products or services, they can help you see which ones are taking away from the success of others. Because, say you have 4 different things that you offer and your top one is doing really, really, really well, but your bottom one is actually costing you money, then it's taking away from the profit of the top one.
Exactly.
And when you can be banging it and making some big dough.
Yeah, and I think we even mentioned that in our episode where we were talking about how to combat recession, how to survive a recession, right? How to make your business recession proof. Mm-hmm. And trimming the fat was one of the things we should be doing in this time, right? And the financial statements obviously will give you the information to help you understand where to trim the fat, and making sure it's the right fat to trim, because you want some fat, right? Especially if it's in the right places. Right.
Or leading you up to bigger services. Sometimes
Exactly.
you might lose a little bit of money on something in order to get a bigger sale from it.
Right. So that's part of the planning.
Yeah. So let's go into detail on the financial statements as a business owner that they should be looking at every single, do you recommend month, quarter, year, every day?
At least monthly. At minimum, a business should look at their financial statements monthly. And there's 3 major types of financial statements, and we mentioned them before, but the 3 major types of financial statements that you should look at least on a monthly basis. Actually, I would say the cash flow statement should be looked at more than the other ones, right? Maybe twice a month you want to look at your cash flow statement. But you also have your profit and loss statement, and you also have your balance sheet. So those are the 3 major financial statements that a business should be comfortable looking at and understand what they're seeing, and really get to, at least on a monthly basis, go through it and understand where you stand.
And if you guys are lost with these words, then you can go back to, like I said, the podcast about accounting, I believe is when we went over these. And your accounting system that you have set up should automatically generate these reports for you. So it's not something that you're having to manually go in and add numbers every time. Like, you literally, when you have your accounting system set up, you can go click on the profit and loss statement, pick the period of time that you want to see it, and all the numbers automatically show up. So don't get intimidated if this is your first time hearing this, thinking that you have to spend hours and hours and hours generating statements every month.
Yes. But I highly recommend going on the Business Project podcast, taking this course, because as a business owner, you want to be comfortable with the reports that you're looking at. And it helps you have a educated conversation with your bookkeeper, your accountant, or whoever's handling your books. It helps you have an educated conversation and understand what you're looking at, so that you can properly plan and properly create that strategy to make your business successful. Take that course on thebusinessproject.com for sure.
It's the setting up your business from start to launch course. And it takes you, everything that we're talking about here with the podcast, it takes you through all of that, but it gives you PDF printouts, it gives you homework, it gives you examples and resource links, and there's just so much more that we don't have time to cover on the podcast that is in that course. It would literally take you as a business owner hours and hours and hours, and probably a lot of headaches and mistakes to learn everything that you learn in that compact 15 lesson course.
Yeah, agreed. So take advantage. All we're doing is touching the tip of the iceberg when we have these podcasts. So it's up to you to take that and dig deeper.
So you said that the cash flow statement was something you should be looking at every other week. Mm-hmm. What exactly is the cash flow statement, and why is it important?
Yeah. So cash flow, right? What does that tell you? When you hear cash flow statement, right? That kind of tells you how the money is coming in and going out. So it's a report that takes your bank accounts right? That your bank account information that comes into your reporting system, it takes that information and it shows you really a higher level view of your what's coming into your bank account and what's going out of your bank account. So it's really kind of like looking at your bank statement, but it's giving it to you in a format that kind of allows it to fit into your other statements
Makes
as
it
well.
easier to read.
Makes it easier to read.
To navigate the information.
Yeah. So cash flow is your real-time information, right? It's kind of like your, let's just say, your alerts. The alerts that you get in your bank account. Let's say if you get below a certain balance, you get an alert. So you can go in and you can see your last set of transactions and see what came in and what came out. Your cash flow statement gives you that real-time view of what's actually going on in your what's going on with the money that's coming into your business.
And how much money you actually have. It's almost like what's it called with your checkbook, balancing your checkbook, right?
Balancing your checkbook.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. And then, so what are some tips that you have for them to help just utilize their cash flow statement? Like, what are some things that they really need to pay attention to on it?
And you know what? It's just simple, right? When it comes to the cash, and the deeper conversations are going to be around the profit and loss statement and the balance sheet, because the cash flow is kind of like pulled out of that information, right? It's pulled out of a combination of the profit and loss statement and the balance sheet. So that's where because your bank account lives on your balance sheet, right? But your expenses, everything that comes out, lives on your profit and loss. So it takes a piece of those two reports, and it gives you that kind of like gives you the idea of the actual real time of what's coming in out. So why do you want to use that? Because you want to know how you are doing today. It gives you today.
Yeah, that's
right?
good. That's a good way to do it. So the balance or the cash flow statement is today, and then the profit and loss is the next one, right? That's
Yes.
like a period of time. That's, this month, last year. And then the balance sheet is like a lifetime, right?
It's
is that
where
right?
the balance sheet is where your business lives at this point in time.
Right.
Right?
Everything
Or how your
leading up
business,
to now.
leading up to now, to this point in time. Everything that's happened up to today. Your profit and loss statement is a period of time, right? So you can look at it in a 6-month window, in a 30-day window, 3-month window. It gives you a period of time that kind of gives you how you've accumulated, how you paid your expenses. So here's where each one lives. Let's do that, right? Your cash flow statement, of course, is really just how the money's moving from your bank account to the expenses that you're paying, how it's coming in and out. It's your right now. Your profit and loss tells you how you're operating. It's the operational report of your business. So you get your revenue information on your profit and loss statement. So that tells you how well you're selling your product or service. So everything that you sell is on your profit and loss statement. That's your revenue side.
That's the one that specifically helps you trim the fat.
Yeah.
Your profit and loss statement.
Yep.
Because then you can see last month from the 1st to the 30th, this is how much we brought in and this is how much we spent. Or last quarter, this is how much we brought in and this is how much we spent. And you can even break it down as much as like this was spent on this product or service and this was spent on this product and service. So you can compare, this was the income for this and this was how much we lost. Are we doing well or are we not doing well?
Right. Another thing that people use their profit and loss statement is, let's say it's a project-based business. You're doing a project. It helps you see how well your actual project is doing, like how much money is staying in the business after all the expenses are said and done for that particular project.
Yeah.
So, and I'll give you an example. I was just talking to a client of mine the other day in regards to how they track their projects, right? So you have a bill, you have a charge for a particular service that you're doing for a client. And the example I'll say is, let's say you're building a website. You're a website builder, you're a developer, and you build them a website, and it costs you're charging the client $1,500 to build that website. They're probably more than that, but I'm just throwing a number out there. I think Mr. Adam can give us a better,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
As far as numbers are concerned. And we have a podcast actually that throws that. So let's say 1,500, right? To build the podcast or
build a
build a website. But in that 1,500, you have to pay contractors that help you, that are helping you. You have to pay some technology, the hosting. So there's a lot of charges involved in creating that, right? And building and bringing that project to completion. And then after all that's said and done, tells you how much you have left over for your business to reinvest. That's your net income, right? After all that's said and done. So businesses have the opportunity to use a profit and loss statement to see how well they're doing on projects and say, maybe we're not charging enough, or maybe we're utilizing some services that we don't really need to get this project completed. So how can we increase our gross profit from this particular service? It's a very important financial statement, probably for the operating of a business, the most important, to tell you how well your business is doing. So that's the profit and loss statement.
Very, very important statement. And you can do several different varieties of your profit and loss too. You can look at a summary that's just like kind of, this is generally what you spent and what you brought in, and then you can look at a very detailed one. And you need to know the detailed one, not just what came in and what went out. But it also helps you discover disparities in your books. So like if something looks funky, like, wow, we spent this much on that, then you can catch that before, the end of the year and you're trying to do your taxes and figure out where it went. It also helps you, again, like early on, figure out, are these expenses, especially in the world of subscriptions and auto pay and all of these things that we're doing. There's
thunder
upstairs.
Out there. Yeah. It's a bad storm coming through.
Yeah. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but there's somebody walking upstairs. Boom, boom, boom. But it can help you catch any problems that you're facing in your business financially. If you're spending too much on certain things, it can help you catch it ahead of time versus waiting until the end of the year when you're doing your taxes and be like, wow, that was a big amount of numbers that we spent on that specific thing.
Yeah, and that just brings back the importance as well of having a good system for that in place. So utilizing one of those bookkeeping systems that are out there, because as you're analyzing your profit and loss statement and you're seeing like a particular expense category, let's say a subscription, you're paying out a lot in subscriptions. The program allows you to dig deep into saying, all right, where are these numbers going? Who am I paying in this subscription category that's so high? And then you get to ask yourself, do I really need that expense? Right? That's where you start trimming the fat.
Is it bringing a return?
Yeah. What are we getting back from this? Does it make sense? Do we need it? So operating the operating process of your business, that's where your profit and loss statement comes in to make sure it's being done efficiently.
And just like everything else in business and in life, the more you do it and the more you're actively getting on there and looking at it, the more comfortable you're going to get with it. So I feel like at first when you're just running your business, it might be a little weird and you might not understand it, but the more you do it, especially at the beginning, the more comfortable you're going to be with it when your numbers are bigger and there's a lot more to work with. Yeah. My husband and I have an electrical company also, and oh my goodness.
A lot of moving parts.
There's a lot. I mean, you think about an electrical job and you're doing several different jobs at one time, and you go to the store and you get supplies for 5 different jobs. How do you figure out where all of those supplies go to which job? And then your guys are going to 5 different jobs and their hours with that. And I mean, it can get pretty technical and detailed. And so if you start at the beginning when you only have 1 job or 2 jobs and get the systems down and get it figured out, it makes it a lot easier when it gets complicated.
So much easier to start right, which is why we're doing this podcast.
Exactly.
To make sure you're starting right. Yes. But yeah, it's so true because, going back, I'll tell you what, bookkeepers and accountants, they despise when they have to go back and fix or create something for a business that has been in business for so long, right? It's going to cost you some money If you've been in business for a year or two, have not done anything with your books, and you realize that you need it, you go to a bookkeeper or an accountant or CPA, they're gonna be like, we got to go back. And there's some hours that they're going to be charged on you to be able to bring your stuff up to date.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Start that. Good habits from the beginning.
for sure. Very
So
important.
important.
Very important.
Yeah. All right. So the one that we haven't talked about is the balance sheet, which
Yeah.
is, you said, the up until now. It's like your whole history of a business. And let me see if I'm right with this. It is basically all your assets and liabilities is a big part that the balance sheet talks about that the other ones don't, right?
Correct. Yep. So the balance sheet encompasses we call it the accounting equation, right? Where your assets equal your liabilities plus your owner's equity, right? That's your balance sheet.
Assets, write that down. Equals,
Equals your liabilities plus your owner's equity.
my head's already spinning.
So in essence, a balance sheet has to match, right? All of your,
Hence the word balance.
yep, it has to balance. It has to be equal. If it's not equal, if your balance sheet isn't equal, then something's wrong. Something's not right. And that's where you have to sit down with someone and say, can you help me figure this out? Because the balance sheet can be very confusing. A lot of people don't even understand. It's Chinese to them, you know?
It is.
I don't know what that means. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the balance sheet, it captures all of your assets, which includes your bank account, right? So it has your bank account on there, any equipment that you own, if you own a building, all your, if you have any major equipment for your office, computers, like anything.
Furniture.
Yeah. Depending on who you speak to or who your accountant is, it could be, or how you want to track it, anything like over $1,500 or more, it should be tracked as an asset for the business. So all that lives in the asset side. On your liability side, you have all of your debt. So let's say you have any loans out there, or you have any bills that you have to pay to vendors, right?
Credit card.
Yeah, your credit cards, like all of your liabilities. So a liability is what you owe, right? That lives on your balance sheet as well. And then your owner's equity. Owner's equity is what you get left over after the business takes care of all of its responsibilities.
Unfortunately, guys, you
Yeah.
have to pay your bills before you pay yourself.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you're not going to last very long.
Yeah. So, a lot, and that section can be negative. The owner's equity section can be zero, because, if your business is not successful, it's not making money, it's losing money, you can have a negative owner's equity section. Most businesses starting out do. You have to invest in your business, put money into your business, make some major purchases, or get your business in place before you start seeing that return. So there's some grace there when you're first starting out to know that you may not be successful in the beginning. But the balance sheet actually captures all of that. So lending institutions utilize the balance sheet a lot in determining if they're going to lend to a company. So that's
It shows if you're just raking in the loans and then not making any money,
Yep.
then you're a big liability to them that they don't
Yep.
want.
All the ratios that lenders use to make the decisions are based off the balance sheet. So there's different ratios, like the current ratio is one of them, and that's a ratio of your current assets versus your current liabilities, and that just means assets that you can turn into cash very quickly in less than a year, and liabilities that you have to pay in less than a year. They do a mathematical equation to find out, do you owe more in less than a year than you actually have coming in less than a year? Because that's going to tell them that you're going to have cash flow problems. Mm-hmm. So they utilize the balance sheet to make a lot of financial decisions if they're going to lend to you or not.
And we're going to go into this in a lot more detail. If you're more interested in exactly the getting financing part, we're going to do a whole series on that later. So
Yes.
John's going to give you all of his tips. That's where his specialty is, and where pretty much your whole career has been is banking and financing for small businesses. So you guys have one of the experts here to help you with that, which I think that is a big underutilized part. People understand personal financing and personal credit cards and personal debt and, HELOCs and a mortgage and all of that. But when it comes to business debt and utilizing business debt in smart ways to grow your business, I think it's not as well known. And so he's got a lot to give to you guys.
Yeah.
When we get to that.
Yeah. I try to run my house like a business. Doesn't always work out. Way too many more dynamics when it comes to running your house like a business. But when it comes to making those financial decisions, you kind of look at yourself as a business as well. But
so true.
We were speaking before. This wasn't going to be a long podcast in regards to the financial statements, because in order for you to really get a grasp of it, I would need like display boards, and I would need to draw out a profit and loss statement for you, but you get that on the businessproject.com. So take that course, and you can actually get the PDFs and all that stuff that can help you in your samples. Exactly.
Talks more about it. Yeah, and this makes me want to go back and look at all my financial statements. It's been a couple months.
It's time.
Yes,
As a matter of fact, great. I'm glad you said that. We're at the end of the year.
We are.
We're at the end of the year. So this is probably the most important time to take a look at your financial statements, to sit down with your bookkeeper or your CPA, whoever is the one that's managing your financials for you. Sit down and run those reports and start taking a look at them to know exactly how well you're looking into next year, right?
Yeah, don't wait until January when all the bookkeepers and accountants are swamped for back-to-back meetings. Do it now.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, this is the time. Set that appointment now, before Christmas. Get a meeting in before Christmas, so that you have a good. You're not going to get shocked come tax time. You don't want to get shocked come tax time.
Even if you're just starting a business, which I think are a lot of our listeners, they haven't really gotten to this point yet. It's still make an appointment with an accountant or a bookkeeper and get all of your things set up. Because if you're going to start in January or February, that is their busiest time. Yeah. And they're going to be a little distracted. You'll get a little bit more higher quality, I feel like, and more attention if you get it in before Christmas.
Yeah. Right now, what most of them are doing are preparing those conversations or going through some training to make sure they're ready for the tax season in the upcoming year. So you might be able to find some time to get in there and have that conversation.
Cool. Before we get off here, any other financial statements that you feel like they need to know running a business?
Start with those three. You only eat an elephant one piece at a time.
Yes, that's such good advice.
Right? Yeah. Start with the three major ones. Get a good understanding of those. Sit down with the professionals so that they can explain it to you, so that you don't have to be a professional at it. You don't have to be an expert at it, but you have to be able to have an educated conversation around it. Because it's your business.
Yeah.
So start with those, learn them, take the course, so that then you can delve into all these other ones. We create KPIs and all that other stuff, which is really getting into the
KPI. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, key performance indicators.
Oh, okay.
There's
We'll
reports
learn about that one later.
Some good stuff.
All right. I think we're good. We have so many resources, like he said, on our website. There's 28-step checklist to launch your business. So if you're brand new in business, go on there. It's a free video and a PDF checklist.
Yes.
And then we also have the 5 things you can do to get more customers for $0.
Such a great resource.
We created
Especially
that because
now.
Yeah, there are a lot of. That's the number one thing we get asked is how do I get more customers?
Yeah, and you get it for free. Like, that's free.
There's also a PDF printout that goes with that one.
Mm-hmm.
So head on over to the website, thebusinessproject.com, get more information, more details, join the community in there. And I think we are just getting started. This has just been kind of a launch pad for us. And this is the first series that we've done. And we have so many more series planned out. Lots of good information. I think you guys are going to be excited to see how this goes from here on out.
Yeah, we're even going to have some more guests come through. There's some more experts in the field that can help shed and give some insight. So this is going to get exciting. So keep following along and share this with your friends. Like this because it gets us out there into the universe where people can see us. So yeah, just help this thing grow, because it's really meant to support the small businesses.
Yeah, all those things really matter. Making a comment is not just a waste of time. It really matters, and it really helps.
Yeah, and we see
Giving
those.
us a thumbs up or hitting the bell and all the things, giving us a review, all of those things really matter and really help, and we appreciate it.
Yeah. Yep. All
All
right,
right, guys.
Thank you. Have a good one.
We'll see you later.